Good Saturday morning. It's the last day of February. We're going to do a video on value properties in Newport, Richey, and Holiday. We're going to start off by doing an analysis of what the market looks like, and we follow Pasco County to get an idea of the trends. We're at 40, can you see it below there, 4,470 listings, which is a larger number than it was the last time we made a video. We were in the 4,400s. Pendings is 1591, and that's a great number. That number's been coming up for the last 3 months. And we're going to look at the 30-day solds. Now, we're going to use a random 30 days because if you go minus 30 days today, you're not going to get a full month. Okay, 1,198 transactions. That's just fantastic. That number is going back up. It had been going down in a kind of a scary way. So let's do Holiday and Newport Richey. And let's see what we can find for a value investor that I have that I'm going to give them this video. Okay, so right now there's 1,167 properties available, residential properties available. And we're going to look at just the houses, okay? Single family homes, 694 of them to choose from. And let's see what minus $200,000 looks like. 46. Let's go down to 150,000 and see if there's any value in there. 10 properties. Let's take a look at them. Eastgate Estates, $110,000. This is not in a flood zone. Isn't that interesting? Oh, okay. There you go. So, you know, I always say there's a reason when they're cheap, and there's a reason. Okay, this is in Jasmine Terrace. This was probably, oh, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet underwater. So we're going to skip that one. Royal Palm, also in Jasmine, 125 grand. We're going to skip that one in a kind of a bad flood zone. Okay, this is a $310 a month in Newport Colony, right there behind, kind of over there next to the mall. And let's take a look at the next one. Hillendale. Okay, this is not a flood zone. This is $139,000. It has a pool? It can't be. Sure looked like it had a pool. Yeah, it sure looks like it has a pool. Wow, it's not a flood zone. And also, did I mention it has a pool? Who's the funny, any funny bird? All right, now we're going to go ahead and learn how to check these properties for sinkholes. So this is 7403 Heather. Anytime you have a property, you want to go to the property appraiser and you want to take a look at it and make sure that it doesn't have a sinkhole claim. If it does, it's okay to still buy these. We just have to make sure that we know going in what we're looking at. So, oh, there we go. Come on. Because I'm on this recording, look at me. It's a little slow. All right, so let's make this a learning moment. We come here to substance activity, and we see there's none reported. We see it's 1,058 square feet. We see that the pool was permitted in 1979, and it has a tax assessed value of $187,000. Now, this most recently was a foreclosure, and it went up to $140,400. Well, that seems unlikely, but I can research that. We're not going to on this. And now I'm going to give you another learning moment. This neighborhood code right here, this is the little magic number. It used to be if you hovered your cursor over it, it would say search for related sales. Now what we want to concentrate on, this is a 1974. It's got 1.5 bathrooms, and it's 1,058 square feet. So let's look at the comps. Okay, 140,000 for 1,096 square feet. Now this says 1,600 in total living area, so this could very well be a 2-car garage. 175 grand for 1,400 square feet. 240,000 for 1,300 square feet. 287,000 for 1,700 square feet. It's got a really high tax assessed value. $300,000 for 1,600 square feet. And these, it says 0 or has a really low number. It's likely a related party transaction, and that's not going to be meaningful for us. We don't want that data. Okay, let's try to get back into my, look what happened. Yeah, because it's a little slow right now, let's go ahead and log back in. Yeah, I've got too many things open and the recording program is taking up too much. I don't know what it is, RAM or something. Memory, short-term memory. Okay, so Heather Street, 139,000. It's been on the market for 27 days. Let's look at the history on it. It started at 139 and they went down to 139. So it hasn't changed. Let's look at what else is available. Pecos Drive in Virginia City. This looks to me like a frame house. There's a lot of frame houses in Virginia City. This is actually a pretty good location, but the neighborhood is a little not as attractive as some neighborhoods because this is a mixed use community and there's mobile homes. There could be a mobile home right next door to this. Okay, this is in a flood zone. This flooded and they still want $145,000 for it. This is Jasmine Heights. This is not a flood zone, $145,000. Let's look at that roof. So roofs are a big deal right now. If you haven't watched my video on roofs, it boils down to clips, straps, and strips. And if you don't know what that means, there's a huge difference in the price of insurance if you have straps, and double straps are even more interesting. All right, so the city of Newport Richey is really, really special. This is $145,000. And let's do an analysis of it. 5631 Montana. We always go to the Pasco or whatever the appraiser site is, whatever county you're in, 5631. Now, some of the counties don't publish the information the same way. So if you're looking in Pinellas County, you cannot find whether there's a settlement issue with a particular property by going online. You have to find it from the actual county itself. And there's a back door that we have that allows us to verify. So this is 1923. And this is not block. Downtown Newport Richey. It is downtown Newport Richey. No, it's not. It's in Newport Richey. If it was downtown Newport Richey, it'd say City of Newport Richey. It doesn't. So let's look at this neighborhoods. And you're going to see when you look at these prices. 1923, 1,100 square feet. There are no matching criteria for this. Well, that is very unusual. Let's look at it where it's on. Where is it on the map? No, see, they have City of Newport Richey City. It's not the same as the City of Newport Richey, but Montana is I believe that this is in the City of Newport Richey. So downtown Newport Richey is down here by Main Street, right here. And if you're going out on the weekend, this little area right here is really exciting. If you have a golf cart, it's even more interesting. That's so interesting. They're showing up with no comps on this. It's very unusual. Let's go back to this property. There's no evidence of settlement. Let's go ahead and look at let's teach you how to use the map to look at the neighborhood. And we're going to turn this into a teaching moment. If you want to know if the property next door has had settlement issues, we click on the layer map, and then there's a bunch of drop downs. So we'll just run through the drop downs, and you can see here is a button called Substance Sinkhole, and you have to make sure it is clicked. Okay, so this property here in 2010 had a settlement repair. We'll zoom out. Our subject property was right here, so we're not too worried about that. This one had a settlement repair. This one had a settlement repair. This one had a settlement and it was not repaired. This one had a settlement repair, unrepaired. Pink is unrepaired. Yellow is repaired. And if we see any green ones, those are ones that have had activity but no structural damage. And okay, here's one over here. Let's look at this one just for fun. And you see sinkhole activity without structural damage. All right, well, we had two teaching moments. We might as well do a third one. Let's use the layer menu, and I'll teach you one more thing that this property appraiser does, this map does. And let's make sure we're in the right. It's under land use. Okay, here's land use. Land form. You come down to land form and you click on it, and this is going to give us the flood zones. So this blue is AE, the clear is X. So as long as it's in the clear, then as long as it's in the clear, you're in the clear from needing flood insurance. If you have a real interest in that, you can research some of my videos on how flood zones change. Now let's go to the next last one. Seven Springs, it is an A flood zone. So the A flood zone over here in Seven Springs had tremendous flooding during Hurricane Milton. And this one's actually on a little piece of water. So Helene was the hurricane that crushed the coast. And this area was devastated by Hurricane Milton. It was freshwater flooding that didn't actually happen until the next day. And we had a long, long time where Withlacoochee and the Pithla-Chescody and the up here in the Green Swamp, up here, this took on so much water, and that water, when it went downstream, it flooded enormous amounts of areas. Same thing happened with, this is the Starkey Reserve, filled with water, and then it's like it took a breath, and then it started releasing the water, and the water went down these rivers, and it was devastating. But you don't need to know that. All right, so we've gone up to $150,000 in these two cities on single-family homes, which somebody snuck in a condo under single-family home. Let's just for fun, let's look at 150 to 200. And we have another 37. So we have single family. If we're going to buy in this price range, we really don't want to take the chance of buying in a flood zone. We don't want the flood insurance. That brings us down to 24. And then one of my criteria, if I'm shopping for you, is that I'm going to say we want a block home. There was a time when Florida didn't have hurricanes. Tornadoes. But we've had two devastating tornadoes in Florida in the last year or two that kind of changed my whole attitude about frame houses and mobiles. All right, this is a 2-1. There's 21 houses here. We're going to assume that everybody wants at least 2 bathrooms. So that brings us down to 8. All right, Briar Patch is $230 a month, and they've got it as a single family home. I would say it probably is a single family home on the property appraiser site, but the reality is it's a deed restriction and it has an HOA. We're going to pull everything out that's not deed restriction and HOA. Okay, here we go. Orange in Newport Richey, orange land, solid bones and major upgrades. And is that an 8-sided house? Wow, I don't know where this is, but isn't that interesting? How much is this? $175,000. Stop renting and start owning. This former rental is a project entry-level home, ready to build your sweat equity. So we want to look at where this is. So this is right off a little road. Yeah, I can't. But you. Okay, well, Knoll. I know Knoll. So it's right above Massachusetts. I was wanting to say, have a contest. What happens when what happens at the end of Massachusetts? It becomes decubulous. All right, so 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It's a fascinating little house. I don't know what to make of it, but I like it. Let's go ahead and check it. 8428 a nay. 8428 a nay. 8428 AN. And it's this one. And we can see there's nothing there to worry about. We can verify it is a X flood zone. The square footage is 656. Oh, what a great opportunity for a learning moment. Okay, now they have the square footage at 1132, and the property appraiser says it's 656. So there's a button right here. called View Sketch, and it appears that they're including the unfinished garage and the unfinished UDU. Now there's a button that will tell you all of what those descriptions are, but it doesn't matter. This is substandard because it's unpermitted square footage. Darlington, not a flood zone, $179,000. I just realized I got to cut this thing short. I've had some problems uploading videos that are too long. We can't go too long. Darlington, 2 bedrooms, 1.5 bath. Now, some of the Darlington homes are, this is a main road. I wouldn't get excited about that. Aloha Gardens is west of 19, but it's not a flood zone. And finally, 199,000. I can't get excited about that. All right, I'm Randy Jenkins. I wish I knew how long this video's gone, whether I can keep going another minute or two, but it apparently is not giving me the time. Hey, I'm Randy Jenkins. Appreciate you reaching out. If you have any questions, find me on Facebook at Randal Jenkins, Florida Real Estate Partners. And if you have any real estate questions, give me a call. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.